Poltergeist 2 is a hauntly horror movie sequel. The movie takes place 1 year after the incident with our family, which is returning from the first movie. This is right after the house gets sucked into, I assume, the other spirit world, the other dimension. Well, the family is living with the grandma, and yeah, things start happening. And basically, we find out that in the first movie, the property was haunted, but since the little girl went into the spirit world, now the entities that were there that weren't good want her. So there's this really powerful one, and now that she's gone, he wants her. So now, in a sense, she's kind of haunted. So it doesn't matter where they go, the family goes, they will be pursued by this otherworldly force. Well, things go crazy, like I said, and they need help again. But in this movie, instead of just the short psychic lady, they get help from this Indian man who seems to be someone special, as our demon says. Hey, so that's what he's calling himself now? Kinda to insinuate this guy's been around. So maybe he's not a guy, maybe he's spirits. I don't know the beginning of the movie. You'll see. Well, yeah. The dad has to train his body and mind and spirit to basically fight off this demon who has been constantly trying to split the family up to weaken them, to steal the girl. And things go down in the end of the movie that are pretty good. Do they defeat this demon? Does he get the little girl back? What happens? Not gonna go into too much spoilers because in my first review, when I re-listened to it, I didn't realize I spoiled so much. So yes, my review to Poltergeist 2. And honestly, before we get into anything, I think the big thing here is Spielberg didn't work on this one. And I think you can tell, even though it still has this like Spielberg feel to it, you know, it's not him, it's like generic feeling. So I feel like maybe that's why this isn't as good as the first movie. Also, I feel like the script was a little, there was things I liked about it, but then there were like clearly things I didn't. But yeah, the things I didn't really like about it was it felt too safe. I don't know. It felt like, words can't describe it. Like, it was kind of boring, and then at the very end, I mean, it got better, but then they did something, and well, it's the review, so I can do some spoilers. Like when the little girl's about to go to the light, I thought it was it for her. I thought that was bold, and then, you know, they renege it like super instantly. Yeah, just the writing for me was like, and it was like the whole like spirit world's after her now. I don't know. I really like the whole feeling of the first one, how the story was like haunted house, while this one was like, it's like she's haunted and it's a spirit world, and I don't know. It wasn't that I didn't like it, actually. It just wasn't to me as interesting as the first one. So I was like, Okay, so really that is about all I had to say about what I thought was wrong with it. Just, it kind of felt like it was a generic Spielberg movie, and then the writing was kind of like, felt like that story was. But I did eventually like some stuff. Okay, well, regardless, the things I liked about it. So for me, the movie was pretty boring, and then it gets to the end, and obviously some movies do that, they just turn up. This was definitely that movie, but there was a part before the end, kind of near the end though still, when the boy is in the bathroom and his braces come to life and start attacking everybody. As stupid as that sounds, that was really well done, and I liked how it was executed. And the thing that I absolutely, and this is crazy, this is for how I thought the movie was pretty mid, there was nothing really unique about it. You get to the part where the husband swallows the worm, and then he basically becomes possessed. Well, he spits up the worm, and the worm is way bigger coming out than it was coming in, and it's like disgusting. And then the worm runs under the bed and starts transforming, and he like looks at the mom and dad, and runs out with his little underdeveloped legs because he's still like transforming and morphing. For that part right there, that was just like honestly exceedingly very good. That whole like couple minutes of what they did there was honestly like some of the best transformation, like practical effects I'd seen. Like that was insanely fucking top tier. Also, it just looked nasty, gross, hot. Like that whole sequence was just incredibly well done. And then it kind of sucks because then it goes to like what it looks like when it's fully grown, and it's kind of like disappointing. But it's also like, I don't know, special effected in. It was weird, but nonetheless, that little part I just talked about was like absurdly good, which definitely rose this movie up by a lot. There was some decent lighting in the movie, nothing too special, but it wasn't bad. Production didn't feel bad. The acting wasn't horrible. I definitely don't think it was as strong as the first one. Maybe that's just me. Maybe that's because the director was different. It wasn't bad, but I just didn't feel like it was as good as the first one. That was basically the gist of this movie. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't as good as the first one. Almost on everything besides the practical effects. I do feel like the practical effects were a little better, because even at the end when the Indian guy makes the fire and you see the little head with the practical effects, like they're all connected, that was pretty good. Even though the first movie did have some good practical effects, definitely with like the caskets coming out the ground. Yeah, all in all, good movie. My recommendation for Poltergeist 2, and I would definitely recommend this. I mean, it was a decent sequel, nothing bad, nothing too crazy though, besides that one scene. And honestly, I would recommend this just so people could see that transformation slug worm scene. Like, that was definitely worth watching.